Good evening once again, everyone. My name is Mr. Smeghead again, and tonight we're going to be doing part 39 of the Adventures of Alundra Let's Play. Having watched the entire village burn after having saved Burgess, we're now going to see, well, the aftermath of what's happened. After saving, of course. So ignore that music skip. But, yes, with, what was it? With the day having been and gone, all of the fires have been put out. Sorry, my words have been all over the place. The fountain's been stopped, rather curiously. I suppose it was to get all the water to put everything out. But several of the houses have managed to survive the aftermath of the fire. And here we see the shopkeeper being oh so tactful as it is. Oh boy, the dark humour still revels even in this horrible time. I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Why a fire sale of all things? Anyway, considering the situation, we are allowed to pinch the silver armor, so that's always good. Well, pinch. We're technically borrowing it. We're returning it afterwards, so that's always a good thing, right? I mean, if she weren't here, then it would be pinching it. But for now, we're getting to pick up the silver armor free of charge and with permission from the shop owner, so that's always a good sign, or a good thing. We could technically pick up the rest of the stuff, but we don't really need them yet, so we'll leave them behind for now. I don't think they even get. I think they do get sold, but it's at such a reduced rate that we no longer have to worry about them. Now, I find this particular comment amusing, considering we were at the Great Merg Tree in the middle of the day. But oh well. Actually, thinking about it, they were all indoors, so I don't know. Any dang way. We're gonna be seeing just how many of the houses have perished in the unfortunate in the attack, as it were. The only thing that remains of Sierra and Sybil's house is, well, this charred husk. It's kind of a sad sight, really. Nothing remains apart from a gravestone. And the only thing that will remain of the rest of the villagers is the charred remains of these houses. Nothing of Elen or Myra, nothing of Bonaire or Phineas, or even Wendell. All of them died in trying to save the village. Bloody brilliant. Well, okay, some of them died trying to save the village. I don't know what the rest were doing, but I can't imagine they would have fared too well against the Merg. Now, with the attack, what was it? The chimney allowing you access to the secret pass is completely caved in, meaning it's inaccessible now. Or caved in, it's inaccessible, basically. We're not going to be able to get there. And this is an interesting point to make as well, considering how Ronan has been dealing with, or considering how Ronan is with his, zealotry, I suppose. He is not going to take kindly, he hasn't taken kindly to the fact that we're going to not want to deal with his god anymore. I mean, fair enough, but, a fun thing, apparently Giles and Kisha's house had a back entrance. You never knew about it. I wonder what would have happened if you tried to access it. I would have given it a look next time. Anyway. Excuse me. An explanation for anyone who still hasn't picked up on how the Merg managed to make their attack. They travelled from Burgess's mind over to Nestus's once Alundra had entered their connected dreams. With the dream bridge made physical, they were able to actually enter the village without warning, causing the attack. Kind of a freaky thing, really. And Tarstan does not seem too pleased with what's happened. I can understand the slight nihilism, I think is the term. I don't know. The kids just are not pleased with what's happened, or aren't happy with anything. I mean, considering what happened, I would not be surprised to see them blame themselves. Anyway, there's not really much more to be said around this place. Once we're done talking to Rumi here, we're going to be heading out. Talking to, I think it was, what'd you call? Good old, Cephas, that's the name. Can't remember the name for the life of me. I think it was Cephas, yeah. The Gravekeeper. We're gonna try and find him anyway. Because apparently he has gone missing. Maybe he's actually at Nava's house. I really should have checked that out, you know. Anyway. Nothing around here, nothing up on here. Still a little confused as to why that grave never got filled. Oh well. It's just like one tiny thing that sticks out like a sore thumb. Sort of like that one door from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. But at least that had an explanation. You know, the e-reader stuff. This is just sort of there. Nowhere to be found, so let's jog on, as it were. Or, jog on, as it were. What the hell am I saying? Anyway. There really isn't much to be said right now, because before this happens, I end up realizing that I only had 47 of the Gilded Falcons. So, for about half an hour, I started panicking, going like, oh shit, where am I meant to go? Where is everything? So I'm just going all over the land, looking at all my usual guides to see if I could find it, and hoping I hadn't left it behind in a nightmare or a dreamscape somewhere, because that would have just been a bit of a kicker. But eventually, before too long, Jesus, I really did piss about, didn't I? Before too long, I did finally realise that there was one place I hadn't visited. Now, this isn't going to be too recognisable to all of you. I just realised VSync isn't on this. Yeah, whatever. But, yes, we are at the Shrine Square, as it were, the Shrine Map Square, whatever you want to call it. Or the Lake Shrine Map Square, whatever it is. Essentially, this is the final area of the game in the actual accessible map. And we'll be getting to see it. We'll be getting to see more of it when, when we have the final crest. But we don't have that yet. So, for now, we're just going to be jumping into the water as soon as we can find a good place to leap off. That staircase is where we're aiming for. As you can see, the treasure chest up there. Never bothered to go there because I am a bit of a nit, as you do. But up here is the what was it? The 48th? Yes, it is the 48th Gilded Falcon. Spent half an hour looking for the damn thing, and I only realised it was there because oh wait, I didn't go here before. Ha ha! I am a moron. Anyway. I'm not entirely sure why I left this bit in. Maybe to show that I'm being sort of pulled along with the flow. Yep, and there we go. Control has been wrestled from me once again. As we slowly fall down the waterfall. And thump. There we go. Nice and easy landing. No need to worry about anything. Anyway, with that half hour of panic over, we're now going to be heading back to the town to save, and then we shall be entering the sanctuary for a nice cup of tea with Ronan or some shit, I don't know. You'd think he'd be up for a nice healthy debate considering the situation, but well, I don't think he's going to be that kind. You can never tell with these religious types. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. I am sticking my foot in my mouth so hard right now. Anyway, excuse me. The bosses from now on. Why did I say the bosses from now on? What am I saying? He's never going to be a boss. Anyway, ignoring that stupidity. The bosses from now on are going to take a bit of an odd turn. Here we have Ronan just sort of standing here, reading, or just looking down. Did not seem pleased with what's happened. However, we are going to be we're going to be getting an interesting bit of information here. He seems to think that we are the reason that everyone started dying. And I mean, technically, he's right. But this is not exactly the best way to fix it, considering the situation. Oh yeah, that's the best way to tell who is right and just God. He demands a sacrifice. Brilliant. Anyway, with the revelation that Alundra is what was it? Apparently, someone managed to spot Alundra walking out. And in the time that they've been talking, the door has managed to lock itself. Either Alundra did it because he didn't want anyone to enter, or Ronan did it with, like, I'm not entirely sure if he could have been able to do it. Now that I think about it, the implications are kinda eerie. Seriously, the door's locked. Either Ronan did it without anyone seeing it, or Alundra did it to keep everyone from interrupting. There's some weird implications at hand here, folks. Now then, once the loading time is over, this doesn't look right. I mean, I can understand that Neruda was able to move stuff around, but Ronan has more power behind him than you'd expect. there is not much to be said about this. Apart from the cool music. Apparently this is meant to be an incubus, but it never specifically says that. Just sort of look like... I'm not sure what to call it. Although I do like how he's so certain in his victory that he thinks he will kill Alundra without even a single thought. It's a very ballsy move on his part. As I was saying, before I rudely interrupted myself, bosses from now on are going to take on a bit of an odd form. Most of them would have like different amounts of HP based on, and would take more damage from different weapons and all that sort of stuff. The later bosses will all have set amounts of HP, and weapons won't do as much damage as they appear. Now then, Ronan here has a couple of unique attacks. What was it? He only has a passive that protects him from harm, since those things take a few hits to destroy. He can summon lasers from the holes on his back. Kinda eerie, really. And he is entirely capable of shooting a goddamn laser from that hand of his. Or from that... whatever you call it is. I don't get hit by it, because I don't want to get hit by it. It's painful. But as you can tell, getting hit by those spike balls isn't exactly the healthiest of options. But what was it? Wearing the ogre's ring in these fights is not going to be worth much anymore, considering all the enemies and all the bosses in the game will start taking set damages from attacks. The only thing that could... what was it? Yeah, sorry, I distracted myself. Now then, technically speaking, the willow bow is just as good at hitting the enemy bosses now as the fiend blade, and technically my next weapon as well. But the only weapon that could technically do more damage on average now would be the legend sword, which would do about 3 hit points in a strike instead of 1. So right now it's not really worth trying to get up close and personal and punching him. All I have to do is, well, this really. Start hitting him with piercing shots until everything falls over. Now then, the spells are a bit of an anomaly in that they do rather nice bits of damage. Right, as you can see, this is a nice and easy way to clear out those spike balls, killing them in one fell swoop, even with some of the bow damage that they've already received. I'm not doing good for health now that I think about it. It's a bit of an odd thing. Unfortunately, we can't permanently clear those spike balls, so if we wanted to make it easier on ourselves to strike with a sword or a flail, we'd have to keep one alive and try and avoid it every so often. It's a bit of a repetitive fight now that I think about it, because it's constantly lasers. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's a theme with lasers. I don't know. But then again, the spike balls aren't exactly made of lasers, so I don't need to worry about those. The 6 shots that he fires from his back are a bit eerie, a bit odd as well, considering they don't seem to home in on you exactly, but they do still sort of home in on you. There's not really much to be said at this point, and we've still got half of the fight to go. It's kind of an annoying thing. If I could get like a proper HP counter on this, so you'd be able to see that it's not really changing much. Excuse me. It really is a better idea to wear the silver armlets now, because any amount of damage I can mitigate is better than no damage, or is better than more damage. I don't know. Seriously, this fight does kind of go on for a while. One thing to note as well, you may have noticed, he is invulnerable to damage when he is using his back holes. Isn't that? I'm pretty sure there was like a fear of those sort of things, but I'm not going to go into it. I may tag it as that though, because some people have interesting phobias. Oh. And here it comes. We're starting to hear the lack of health sound for the first time in quite a while. Don't need to worry about that though, because, well, we've just used one of our god items. I say god items, it's just something that I needed. Anyway, I don't think I ever pick up one of those for the rest of the game now, because I am not a smart fellow. Anyway, really I'm not sure why I'm still trying to hit him with charge attacks. Maybe I thought, oh hey, this will allow me to hit him harder. I don't know. the fights do take quite a while, considering the willow bow is actually a decent way of hitting him without having to get hit back. It's what you'd call the safe option, I suppose. Now then, we're almost at the end of the fight. I think this may be the last shot that does him in. Oh, nope, I tell a lie. Anyway. As you can tell, he still refuses to get hit by shots when he's carrying. Ah, there we go. I suppose you could call it a defensive stance, but I don't know. I find it odd that Malzahs would outfit him with a bloody arm cannon in order to deal with one interloper. Whatever. Strange things happen. I like how this is the best thing as well. The title that that's the Ronan as a boss got. The hideous thing he'd become. They didn't even want to give him a name. I mean, technically that was Ronan, so I suppose he has got a name. Anyway, we just sit here looking rather dumbfounded for a couple of seconds, and we're back in the cathedral, the sanctuary. Yeah, this totally looks normal. I like how he somehow managed to get back up there before he finally falls over dead. I'm not even sure what made that sound. But with that, we have finally dealt with Ronan the priest. I'm not entirely sure what to call him. But now we can actually keep the rest of the villagers safe. Once we come out. Oh man, everyone's happy to see him. Sort of. Why didn't I speed that up? I have no idea. Apparently, I'm not entirely sure why he was saddened. You can't really tell considering there's not enough definition in his face. Ah, yes, so it may have been Maya's disappointment. I don't know. Yep. Unfortunately, Ronan died as he lived. Serving his god. And it's unfortunate that his god was a trickster demon, but we'll just have to live with it. Now then, I hope you guys like talking, because, well, we've got a whole load of it to deal with. It's rather a strange sight here. The original village of maybe 31 people has been more than halved down to 14, all being protected by the walls of the sanctuary. They don't. What was it? Gustav still seems convinced that there's a chance they'll be able to attack through nightmares, and well, considering both the twins are here, there's no chance of that happening, at least by the Murg. But as it says, they were a special case, so we don't have to worry about the Murg attacking by the dreamscapes, as it were. But he does have another fine point, as it were. What's stopping Malzahs from just killing them in their sleep? I mean, considering there is technically something to be said. There's no way for him to kill all of them because, well, his power is waning, or his power is waning, I think it is. I mean, all of the people who used to pray to him are dead or dying, or are basically in very localized cases. I mean, the Murg are asleep, so they're not going to be doing any of that anytime soon. So he is in a situation where he could get killed by someone who's powerful enough. Thankfully, that person, as you may have been able to guess, is going to be Alundra. I wonder why I said thankfully, I'm not entirely sure. But Beaumont, if you pause that for a second, I won't blame you for doing it, has come across the pretty smart idea that if they're all able to control their own dreams, Malzahs won't have any power over them. They'll be able to block him out, as it were, like some sort of magical firewall. And since they're all going to be dreaming the same dream, they're going to be nigh impenetrable. It's going to be brilliant. Now they've just got to think of a single brilliant idea, a single brilliant dream. I do like that idea, Dream Warriors. This is very nice. But what was it? Yes. They're going to be trying to think of some way to help Alundra in his final quest. Unfortunately, they have got some stumbling blocks here, which makes sense. They don't really know what a hero looks like, as it says here, kind of reiterating the points that everyone else is saying. And it does sort of make sense. If one person is off the mark by just a little, then the whole thing goes kaput. So they're just going to do the simple thing and empower Alundra, because, it's a smarter idea than anything else. Anyway, with that done, they're finally in agreement of what to do. But there's one last thing that needs to be done before we can leave the sanctuary. Thankfully, they do get the idea across before they leave. What I like, though, is that apparently they're all able to... What was it? Maya gets the idea across, but it seems like everyone immediately knows what she's talking about. She's like, oh, yes, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, they are really bright for being a group of villagers who are basically praying to a false god. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be saying it like that. But, yeah, fun thing for all. Now they're going to be basically making the equivalent of a very elaborate prayer circle. And with this, come on, game. I know you're there. There we go. Now then, if you all remember what would have happened if Jess was still alive, we get the Holy Sword. We don't need. Nobody had to die to make this. They were able to bring it. They were bringing it out from the realm of dreams. I'm not entirely sure why, but I'm suddenly thinking of 0 punctuation. I don't know. And we get a special fanfare for having picked up this Holy Sword. It's brilliant. I love that noise. Anyway, with this amazing pose pulled, we have one last chat with the villagers before we pretty much bid them farewell for the rest of the game. Oh, that's another tap. I should really stop that. But yes, like I say, there's only these lot left to talk to. 15, I think it's 15 people? Yeah, you'd think there is. But with that, we have... what was it? We finally have the faith of everyone in the village. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that so many people had to die before that happened, before that finally came through to everyone else. But we're now going to be talking to everyone, making sure that they're all still, you know, peppy as hell, as it is. Peppy as hell? I don't know. We're hanging around people for too long. I like how as well there's still people who are still intent on helping us as well. And yes, that's an interesting bit of info as well. The two guys who live sort of outside of the village weren't here. Oof. And we have Gustav's reason for wanting us to continue onwards. Oh yeah, we're gonna make him feel the same pain. He is gonna feel it. It's gonna be bad. Anyway. There's really not much I could say at this moment, because it is just talking to everyone to make sure that everyone is alright. And... yep, they still seem quite worried about Alundra. Or some of them do. Talus is still being about as Talus can be. As if that is even a thing you could say. I like that as well. He promises to be his slave. It's brilliant. Anyway. Having spoken to Beaumont, we are going to be jogging on with the idea that we should probably go talk to Nava now. I like how the heads-up display doesn't come back until we pause either. Like, this is all we're gonna see. At least until we get back upstairs. Then it goes back to normal. You gotta be quite amazed at the fact that those lights have continued to burn all this time. Are those like actual lanterns or just light bulbs? I don't know. Do they even have light bulbs in this time? Whatever. Anyway, here we have the Holy Sword. This is brilliant. And this has the strongest charge attack in the game, and second strongest attack in the game of all time. Being beaten out only by, you know, the Legend Sword, which doesn't even have a charge attack. Anyway, with one last conversation from Maya, we're gonna have... oh yeah, I hope you guys like slow text crawls, just to make really sure that we understand what's going on. I'm not really... I can't really connect with this, you know, I'm not exactly good with that sort of stuff. I think this is more of the end result of what happens when you stop poking around in people's minds, you know. May have had a bit of an effect. I have no idea. I can't really say much of anything either. It's a bit of an eerie thing. And with this, the villagers are no longer accessible. We cannot talk to them in any way, shape, or form. The only people we can talk to are anyone who's still around. You get a quick explanation of what exactly is up with Cephas and Nava, yes. Another race has been introduced to us so late into the game. We don't see many of those, but essentially, they're long-lived people who are, as it says, tasked to keep an eye on Malzaz. Good thing they're still around, of course, otherwise this could have been rather embarrassing. You know, the guy who's meant to deal with Malzaz comes around about a century or two too late, and everything's already gone to shit. But nah, that wouldn't have happened. Would have been interesting to see, but it wouldn't have happened. Anyway, we now have to go find Nava, who has the last crest. Rather rude that he wouldn't give it to us so early on, but I suppose it's, you know, to make sense. It makes sense, you know. Gotta make sure that Alundra really is the chosen hero of the land. But with this, we are no longer allowed to enter the cemetery either. And with that, I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.